All right, everyone, and welcome. Let's just start, as always, by testing the sound. And perfect, that worked. Okay, and now if I go and click that one, everything should be good. All right, guys, so welcome again, everyone watching live and everyone watching the recording. Again, if any of you guys are new, welcome to the channel. We talk stocks and crypto and FX and all of that. I just introduce myself every now and then, I guess. I'm Michael Noss. I'm a chartered market technician. I've been trading the markets for many, many years now. With a focus on statistical analysis in combination with technical analysis. So how, a lot of traders out there do some sort of combination of news or fundamental ideas and technical analysis. I do the same thing, but with statistics first and then technicals second after that. So what we do on these live streams, I go over any videos that I made publicly and talk about any of the calls or not really calls. I never give advice. I'm just some dude on the internet. So obviously don't listen to me in any respect. But we just talk about kind of what I talked about this week and then kind of combine that with whatever is going on now. So let's go into... And let's start with that while we wait for people to pop in, if anyone. I'm doing less and less of these videos as opposed to doing one every day. I'm just going to target a few a week and then use the time that's being freed up by that to make some of this longer form content, which I think a lot of people like better. We can go on to the channel here and see... Pop that over so I can pop back and forth. That was the Stats Edge Pro member webinar. So if anyone is a Stats Edge Pro member and you haven't yet seen the member webinar, it is on the website as well as right here. So the first one was NKTR, which didn't do anything. I remember this one kind of sold off right away. Yeah, we were looking for this to break above this kind of bull flag right here. Never got anywhere close and then just fell off. So that was fine on that one. Next was Robinhood, which I didn't think was going to be nearly this boring. So Robinhood, basically I was looking at this downtrend channel right here. After kind of this bottoming action that was put in, some would call that a cup and handle or something like that. But I entered a little bit right here, and I am still in this around this area, but there's just nothing. It hasn't done anything since. I think I'm up or down like 20 cents or something. Yeah. So it is flat in all intents and purposes. Then I did this video. I'm going to link this in here for anyone who's interested. This was kind of cool. The University of Toronto. Where's the chat? There's the chat. The University of Toronto invited me to talk about artificial intelligence and finance and how we use it and everything like that. And so that was a cool little thing. I edited it down so it was just my bits in it and then uploaded that. I think that was something, it was fun to do. Views aren't ideal, but whatever. And GPRE took some of this today. Basically on this one was just kind of looking at this downtrending wedge that was going on here. And the main reason I'm trying to take a shot at this one is the 21% short float you can see over there. We popped out and above that a little bit. So that's something that is more or less interesting to me. Simply because if we can stay above this 35 level, you can see over the last, if I zoom in here and, feedback on the black and white charts, I really, really like them. I just don't know if they're cleaner or harder to see, but so this 35 level has been resistance here for the past few days. So kind of popped above it today, couldn't really hold. What was our exact close? 35.03. And the close here was 04, right? And then the high here was 18, right? So it's around like 35.20-ish. So we got close. I took some on the close just to see. Will be wrong probably under this bottoming tail right here. If I do that, yeah, this bottoming tail right here. That's probably where I'll be wrong on this play, but I just like the 21% short float. So if we kind of start popping up here, those shorts could get nervous. They start to cover, right? That's more or less what we want to see if we're looking for short squeeze. And that was it for this week. So fairly light week. A lot of that was just because of the markets overall. So we'll go over that in a second. Let's start. Oh, I didn't mean to open Twitter there. But let's start with the crypto markets, as we do. I trade crypto, Forex, whatever. I'll trade what I trade type of thing. But so let's start with the Forex market or the crypto markets, and then we'll go into the Forex, and then we'll start talking about stocks. So into crypto. As this falls in, I'll go through. Let's just start with the big boy. So Bitcoin, very, very strong. Where is holdings? Here we go. This one that I have all annotated up for everyone. Or do I? Daily. Yeah, it's on the daily chart. But yeah, basically we were looking at in the Stats Edge Pro membership again. If you're interested, come to the website. It's in the bottom of the screen there. Basically, the output of what you're going to see here today is what you get every single day, right? It's just the output of this work. I spend about an hour and a half every night going through crypto and futures and FX and stock markets and all that. And then I just write up a little report for you guys with annotated charts and send it over. And that's what that is for like $2 a day. So I personally think it's very worth it. But so the sport held. Then we were looking at this cup and handle right here in Bitcoin. When we broke out of this downtrend and pushed higher, I wish I had more, basically, because this is an incredibly strong looking trend. How I found technically speaking, to draw a target from the cup and handle is you're supposed to take this base and then kind of extrapolate that out from the breakout point, which is right around here. So that's why I have that the target of the cup and handle pattern gets us to about 70K. Knowing Bitcoin, I would be shocked if we broke these recent highs here at 65 and only went to 70 and then reversed. It could, that could be part of the Max Payne theory where maybe that's all it gives. But first we need to get to and through this kind of 60 to 65 area, which was that was the Head and Shoulders top back here. So really there's nothing to talk about with Bitcoin today. It's just a little inside day. It is what it is, but we need to see kind of what's happening with if and when we get up to this area before I'll be interested in, maybe an ad or something. If we got up here and based for a while and then pushed higher, I'd be more interested here. This Atom USD, I've been in, I think I did talk about it on stream. I've been in this from the low 30s for a while now. It took a little bit out when it popped up into these prior highs. Then it came back down and I bought a little bit more. And then I've just kind of been holding that position with a low 30s average. I'll probably protect that now, but it is still a strong kind of looking pendant here. You can see it's taking a little bit longer to break out than I would have thought. But again, I'm treating these cryptos like stocks. I heard JC from All Star Charts talk about it and just kind of wholeheartedly agree where they are just kind of more stocks to trade at this point. The benefit of them is obviously that, there's no, there's no halt, there's no close of the market, there's no circuit breaker, there's nothing like that. It's just pure price action, right? There's really nothing in the way of earnings reports or anything like that. It's just, this is these different currencies and what they do. And then this is what we're going to, this is how we're going to trade them, right? So I scan them. This is a list that I made on TrendSpider where basically I just copied and pasted and put everything in that Kraken, which is the exchange that I use, lets me to trade. And then I just scan through it every night the same way as anything else. This CRV is kind of an interesting one here with this kind of declining action. Someone could call this a cup and handle with a big kind of base going on here. So that one's interesting. So I'm just going to put that watch over 3, and we'll put that on watch for whatever this is. I know as much about these individual coins as I know about the individual stocks I trade, which is next to nothing besides the chart. Doge looks interesting, but I don't think that's the meme anymore, right? I think Shibu is the meme. So it's like, is Doge the old news now? Yeah, like even like this one. Bullish declining wedge broke out, so you're talking 158, and then it spiked up to nearly $2. Like that's how a crazy low float penny stock would play. So what's the difference, right? So this KAR I've been watching for a while, and this one's interesting as well here, but I'm actually looking for this. I don't even know if Kraken would let me short it. They let me short a lot of these coins, but just really struggling at this prior resistance kind of area up in here between like 8 and 9. So if we can't get above there, I may actually watch. I have to go on the site to check. I can do that right now without you guys seeing stuff. KAR. It's not even showing up here on my Kraken app. Markets. Okay, I don't know. Maybe that one's not trading anymore. Never know with these things, so I'll ignore that. But yeah, a lot of, as we go through, I'm noticing a lot of these kind of rounded bottom basing type looks in these crypto, right? You can see it here. You can see it kind of happening here. So all of these are looking good and have been for a while now. And in the past anyway, kind of what you've seen with crypto, at least I've seen with crypto, is you'll get a big Bitcoin move and then wait a little bit, and then you get the alts that move after that. And of course, it won't always be like that, but that's what I've seen kind of many, many times. We'll add this one as well because I'm still watching this one over $5. I really like the look of this one as opposed to the other ones. It has some decent relative strength going on, which the more I study and the more I trade relative strength, the less I actually want to even look at anything else. But nice little cup here, and I like how if we go to Atom, it was the same type of a thing. You took out these prior highs and you came back to test it and held. So if I go into this, what was it? Something, not Mana, Manic. No, Mina. Same kind of look, right? It had these prior highs in here. It broke that, came back and tested it, and so far that's hold. And so maybe a continue up from there. I should look at that one a little closer. But yeah, a lot of them, there's much fewer of these that look like are in pain than look like they are strong. Again, it doesn't mean anything for sure, of course, but Very interesting. This OMG, I want to look at this one as well. You see these prior highs going in through here, kind of in this $14 area where it got rejected here before. Again, comes back up and it tests. So this may be another place to take a look at OMG, whatever this one is. So you'll see here again, you get a fair amount of stuff to watch, and the beauty of it is when it's very related to what's going on. When they trade, this is another one that I was watching. Still going to keep that one and watch Quantum, whatever this one is. They trade like stocks. They look like stocks. The beauty of them, and a lot of people. It's a debate I had with a buddy at Trade Ideas talking about how I think that the whole market's going to go 24 hours at some point. Yeah, I don't know what this one either, but I should watch 20. I think stocks are going to go the same way as crypto does, where it's going to be 24 hours a day. It's, they'll probably keep halts and circuit breakers and all that crap in place. So yeah, all of these are just, it's like a lot of bull flags going on here. Right. So this one looks good as well. But so as stocks kind of become more like crypto, I think everybody who's trading should put, even if it's just a few $100 in a crypto account like Kraken and just get used to trading it. Now, the beauty of it is, and yeah, Solana we were looking at here for another breakout. And I think what you'll find is it's not that bad. Again, I've heard a lot of trepidations about, hey, if it's stuff's trading 24/7, 365, I'm never going to sleep or anything like that. But for me with technology, I find it more freeing than anything else, where, I don't do a lot of this anymore, but most people who trade the open. I've changed that recently where I just trade the close primarily, except maybe a scalp here or there off the open. But what happens is in the crypto space, instead of this, okay, I need to sit down at my desk at this time and really, really focus, is say you're using daily candles or 4-hour candles or whatever. You pick one time a day that you go through and scan everything. And then with, TrendSpider that I use, links for all of my trading tools in the description below. Those are affiliate links. So if you buy using those links, it helps me out personally and helps out the channel. So thank you for that. But with something like TrendSpider, I can set an alert and then it goes off on my phone, right? And then I have the Kraken app on my phone and I can place the trade like this. I can do an analysis on a big chart while I'm sitting down, but then I can just say, hey, let me know if this thing's going to happen. Or if I'm okay with it taking up my buying power, I can just set the stop limits in Kraken itself. And they have the ability to say, hey, if I get triggered, put out a stop loss. And that's all I need to do, right? So I set out the stop limit to get me in. I set out that if this gets triggered, to put in a stop loss right there. I walk away and then get alerted when I get filled. Because TrendSpider will say, hey, it's broken this price. And then I'll open up my phone and check it. So I don't think it's nearly going to be as bad as a lot of people think it's going to be when it comes to doing those things. So to summarize, again, because I always like to after these, the crypto market looks incredibly strong. Everything looks great. Again, I'm in Atom. I think I may switch that over to, what was it? MNTC. MNITC USD. I never keep my viewer count up, so I don't even know if I'm alone. But if I'm not alone, anyone remembers Manic, that one, right? No. Mina? Yeah, Mina USD. There was that one. There one other. I've captured the charts. That's fine. So yeah, crypto is looking incredibly strong. Let's go look at the Forex list that I walked through. This one I generally trade the majors. I'm going to stop as of next week looking at these on daily charts, both of them but instead of looking them at 4-hour charts. So I actually put out an order on USD franc right here, basically to see if this line will break below. I'll take a short in through there and then, just try to cover a little bit after. Just a kind of big kind of inclining wedge going on here as the price gets kind of higher and higher. And again, overall, this thing's been a downtrend for a while, so I wouldn't be shocked to see this break and a little bit of continuation go on in there. That was kind of all I was seeing. I am still short. Yeah, here it is. Pound USD. I've got a anchored VWAP drawn from that recent swing high, and it's kind of keeping the price down as well as these recent lows. So I'm short against this level and really am flat on the position for a number of days. It's something that I do have to get used to when trading FX is the speed at which it trades is incredibly, incredibly slow compared to stocks, which is why I'm going to switch, I think, from daily charts into 4-hour charts for these and just play the moves a little bit tighter. Right, because I did get that initial pop down as I thought I would have. I should have taken some and then put my order back out to reload and that kind of stuff as well, right? So let's, where was the only other thing I wanted to look at was USD CAD, which is not doing well, which sucks because I want it to do well because I get paid in most things in US dollars and then don't buy anything from the US. So the weaker the Canadian dollar is, the better. But in this case, it looks like it's actually looking to be a little bit strong. So again, don't like that, but it is holding some support right here. I don't really see a trade to make unless you want it to take a header off that level, which again might not be the worst thing in the world. The markets are closing now, but we are getting into the oversold territory, and we do have a pretty significant level here. So the more I talk, I'm going to take a note to play off 124 on CAD. Okay, so that is stocks. And that is crypto. Let's get into good energy today. Let's get into the markets. Yeah, that didn't work because it was a beta. So let's take a look at, first of all, the RSP, which is what I look at the most here. And you can see we did, that I've been kind of playing this range for a while, but we did gap out and then that gap sold off. And actually, if we go into here, we take a look at my RSP kind of messages to all the guys at the Stats Edge Pro. It's been, I think they can tell I'm starting to get frustrated, but it is what it is, right? It's a range within a range within a range. So we have this overall range on the market. And for anyone who doesn't know, the RSP is just the S&P 500, except they are equal weight instead of what's called cap weight. And cap weight means the larger the company, the larger effect it has on the markets. The equal weight just says, take each one, divide it by 500, and that's your weight. I like to look at the equal weight versus the cap weight just because there was that, when we were selling off and everything was super scary, it was just a big tech sell off, right? Everything else has been choppy all year. But we've got this big range up here and this range down here. So that's the range. And then we are in a range, and then we are inside today's range. So again, right, there's not much commentary to make on this. Just because what the hell else do you look at, right? It's it's choppy. Now, that being said, that does tailor some of my trading somewhat. I've been playing a lot more of pullback plays and little tiny wedges in overall uptrends, because anything that I think that is strong enough to maintain a good uptrend when the stock is range bound like this is probably something I want to make sure I can get involved in. That being said, I'm also being very, very defensive about making sure that I'm not chasing anything, because every time we pop, we get sold. Every time we sell, we get bought. And it's just been that way all year, and it will probably continue to be that way. We'll take a look at IWM, and it's the same kind of a story, right? Where there is a lot of bottoming tails in this area, and I actually drew that circle before we kind of rebounded off that. But this is the anchored VWAP from this last swing low right here. And then we've had this top area, and we are just smack dab in the middle of the range with an inside day today. And we actually had some pretty big news off the open with employment numbers, and that still wasn't enough to move us. But this is the benefit, I think, of being swing traders, right? Is that we're just, it doesn't matter. Like, if you look, this is my watch list. There was nothing really up or down an insane amount. SBGI, which never triggered, I got rid of that. But, the things I'm in, like Hood, changed 0.14% today. So it was a good day to work on some algorithms. It's basically all I did all day. So let's go and just make sure, look at the ETFs. And these are just the ones that I go through on a daily basis. The SPY and the RSP. The SPY, again, both of these things look strong. One thing I didn't, oh yeah, face covers the list up there, but that's fine. I don't want to share all of that anyway, right? That's your guys's, you guys have access to that list. Yeah, the anchored VWAP from all-time highs here in the SPY is interesting, acting as resistance again today. So that's something to note. But, I don't know how much it is important to note. Like, it's one of those things that, this is the thing about technical analysis, is you can look at this in any number of ways. You could say that this is a declining wedge. You could say that it's inside of a range, all of that stuff. Myself, I'm more interested in just the levels and less interested in kind of the fancy patterns. But this anchor VWAP is very interesting to me, just because it does seem to be holding price down a bit. And maybe if we break it, we get a little pop. And if not, we sell off a bit. But again, there's just not much to really talk about when we look at the growth ETF is inside a range. The value ETF is inside a range, right? XLE is the only thing that's kind of been interesting. I did just pick up some of the index as a whole, but we've kind of been watching this one long ever since it broke this area. Again, the beauty of this and Stats Edge Pro is you can go back and look at all of the different, mentions that I made of it, and then they start it right back here. So I've been trying to get involved in some energy names, but right, this flag that started today broke, and we actually made, so let's actually remove that because that's not relevant, and remove that. And then let's look at this line, and it did make new closing high. Pop that over to the start. There we go. And I don't need that anymore. But yeah, so we got a new closing high here on the index on XLE, which has been leading the market wholly, and we'll do it again. So this one got rejected yesterday, but then it actually gapped and held today, which was actually kind of interesting as the financial index, just because the financial index is generally tied to things like employees and stuff like that. Zooming out might be an area of support on the XLE. Yeah, I don't pay for my time horizon. I don't look too far back, to be honest, but there is a lot of junk back here for sure. I wouldn't be buying it up here. It's just not the way I work. You know, I'd want to buy it as it broke out of that base or buy any of these little flags that happen, but I would be, you know, looking to sell on weakness if I was up in here. But this is what's been moving the market, and that's the main thing I wanted to show you guys next. If we go over to this, which is a chart that you guys know that I love, is just looking at the individual sectors inside the ETF. And you can see again how XLE, obviously the most volatile right now, but also incredibly strong in comparison to the rest of them. Other than that, everything's just about mixed. So there's really nothing to glean. Sometimes if you see like clumps of, you know, energy, industrials, and utilities are moving together, or this and this and this are moving together. When you get these clumps and subsects, sometimes that's interesting stuff to play off of. I don't think it is here, to be honest, but it is something that I like to look at. And then the last thing I just want to look at real quick is Monday, which is Canadian Thanksgiving. It's a U.S. bank holiday. Why? What holiday do you guys got down there? Markets are open Monday, right? Yeah, I don't see anything in October. There's also no news, right? So Monday could be an incredibly boring day. Not that I think that the Canadian market's being opened or closed. Columbus Day. Yeah, it's the thing about being in a different country, right? I don't know a lot of what it is that you guys are into, but stock market opened, bond market closed. Okay. So when that happens, because you got to remember, us stock guys are tiny compared to those bond guys. So expect chop and expect a boring day on Monday. So I may not even show up until the closing time when I do a lot of my stuff. Just FYI for the Stats Edge Pro people. You know, when the bond market's closed, it's a lot of the money that's It's a lot of the money that's closed as well. So just keep that in mind, right? That may be the way that happens. But you know, choppy market, and I think it's going to continue to be that way for the year. I think I've mentioned it a few times before, but there's been some study done showing that after a bear market ends, which is right here, you get the first year of a bull market, which is pretty strong, and then you get the second year of a bull market, which is choppy and messy, and it just seems like it's no different this time. Nothing going on there. Okay, close that down. Going on here, just making sure. Oh, thank you, Brett. Share. I just saw you shared in our Discord chat there for Stats Edge. So now is when I'm going to scan for ideas, and at the same time, this is when I'll do any kind of chart requests or anything that you guys are interested in. Really, you know, the way I look at it, to summarize kind of the markets or the stock markets in general, is just that it's chop, it's a mess, which, again, you have to always adapt to the market. Otherwise, why do all this analysis, right? And the main reason I do is I want to find out, what environment am I in? Am I in a screaming rally, or am I in a dangerous sell-off, or am I in chop? And I'm in chop. So what I do when I look to that I'm in chop is the same thing that I always do, which is I hunt for relative strength and strong stocks that are basing or pulling back or something like that. But really what I change is always how I deal with risk. In choppy markets, I'm taking profits when I can. I'm out when it's not working right away. There's a lot of, I'm just faster, right? If I'm in a raging bull market and the thing's just kind of been running forever, well, that's something that's different, right? So I need to change that as well. I'm going to do this just in case anyone who is not a Trade Ideas member doesn't know. I haven't done really any pushing lately. I just kind of rely on you guys being as good as you are and kind of coming to and hanging out with me here. And if you're interested in trading tools like charting or scanning with Trade Ideas, that use the link in the description below, and that helps me out. But they are having a test drive starting, there it is, starting on Monday. I think you might even be able to get access if you sign up now. So check out that link if you're interested in Trade Ideas, but you're still sitting on the fence. It's $11. You get access to everything for 2 full weeks, and you get to come play around. So am I on the right server to run this? Did I break something? No. Okay. I can tease some cool things that are coming out with Trade Ideas too while I'm on the screen. So first of all, very soon, you will be able to link to individual, how do I do it? Symbol linking to individual things. So I'll be able to turn a bunch of scans green and turn a couple charts green, and then those scans will link to the green charts, and the red scans will link to the red chart. So when you click on a symbol in Trade Ideas, it won't update everything. It will only update one thing. So I can actually show you that. Let's do it this way. I'm going to go load JHook. And then let's pop that into here. So this scan right here, I can right click and I can go symbol linking. I can link this to green, and then I can actually make this green. And then let's just put this chart down here and, say this is something that I want to leave as is. I can symbol link this to red. And then when I click on the green chart, the green updates. And you can see the red stays put. So that's kind of cool. Again, if you're coming back to Trade Ideas, or if you're new to Trade Ideas, that's a new feature that I think is really cool. So you could have, these scans over here, and I've got 2 ultra wide, I guess they're called, big monitors stacked on top of each other here. So I could have, some stuff up here that's linked to each other and some stuff over here that's linked to each other instead of it all kind of being linked together. I think that's super cool. And then a new window type that is going to come out as well. And this is something that we call the Market Explorer, which are completely canned scans, but I can't run it from here. Because I'm on a different server. But anyway, it's a completely different window type that you guys have never really seen before. But what it allows us to do is to custom build way more complicated scans that if we gave access to everybody and they were playing with it themselves, it would just crash the server. But we can build certain things that we can't build in the regular Trade Ideas and build them as pre-built scans. So, for example, one of them is, let's just go into, one of them is this one, which will look way nicer when you guys see it, which is just a bull flag setup. And this is breaking currently. Okay, we'll let that run for a bit. But, we can do things like one of them will be a 8 EMA crossing a 20 SMA on the 2-minute chart, which is something we've never able to do before because EMAs are way more complicated to calculate and store than SMAs. So basically anything that uses price and volume, I can in theory build and I can just push out to everybody at Trade Ideas. The downside being there's just no customization on your end. Soon there will be basic customization like price and volume, but it's not something that you could go in yourself. And believe me, you wouldn't want to. I've been playing with this system now for probably 6 months and I barely understand it myself. Okay, first chart request, and then I'll start getting into scanning, is Ajax, a nice little JHook kind of going on here, which is just this type of a small cup pattern right here. Other investment pools. I never like when I see that. Is a real estate investment trust. So yeah, it's a REIT, right? You're talking from here to here is 14 to 13, right? That's meh. Too slow for me. Like, and this is just my idea about all this when it comes to something like capital efficiency. So like Upstart might not actually be the best example, but that's a good looking chart. So I am going to put that one on watch. See if we can get another. This one's a little bit getting long in the tooth for me, but the thing's just been on fire. So 318. Gee, 250 probably. Is that right? No. Sorry, 280. Right, but the way I look at it, so Upstart is doubled. So from here to here is kind of 100% move in Upstart. I don't look at the price of stocks because I don't really care about the anything but percentage gain. So what I look at is I say, what's the percentage gain that I could possibly get? Because even with, if you have a small account, it's a little bit different, but not really, because you can, you could buy as little as one share. Say you had a $10,000 account and you wanted to split it you wanted to be in 5 or 6 different holdings at once, which I think is probably a good idea. You could do something for like with Upstart. You could say, okay, I'll buy, when it was down here, it's at 5 shares, right? You make $500, right? The percentage move to me is what's important. So when I look at something like Ajax, the amount of capital I would need to put in to get any sort of dollar return is pretty high, because where are you going to go? Up to 15? So you buy in at 14, 1 divided by 14. So that's an 8% gain. And how long is it going to take you to get an 8% gain? Now, the flip side of this is that when you trade things that are slow like this, you limit your risk. But the way I look at it is I would rather just assign less capital and trade more volatile instruments. Just because I can assign less capital, and if I'm worried about risk, because I'm calculating everything based off of a risk per trade, it's one of those things where when I look at those, I say, okay, well, I could put that capital somewhere else, and maybe I could split it into 3 different names across 3 different industries that are a little bit more volatile, and I get more return for less overall risk, if that makes any sense at all. Again, it's each their own. Some people like volatile stuff. Some people like calm stuff. I would just rather, because the way I trade is I say, where is my entry? And where is my stop loss? And I'm going to risk X amount of the value of my account on any one given trade. So the way I look at that is I want to say, okay, well, if I'm risking, let's make the math easy, $100 on any given trade, I would just rather do that in a kind of smaller, more controlled way, right? You decide the risk reward was not worth it. See, I would 100% agree with you. So that's good. Surf is interesting here. 9% short float. Earnings are a month away. Yeah, I'm going to add Surf on here. I just like this better than actually linking the two, to be honest, because Trade Ideas charts are great for just kind of scroll through. But then trend spiders I find great to do the actual just drawing up on everything because it will all stay. Yeah, that's not. Geez, it looks a lot shorter when you can see the line right there. But surf, right? We have this nice wedge right here. So if we kind of get above $8 and our stops at worst case $7, so we're risking $1. What's the chance that we could get up to 10? I think that's pretty doable considering this thing has a history of running. Is that it? Oh no, this thing's been around for a while. So yeah, because this kind of top here in this area is around the high 9s. So if we could get from there into the high 9s, see, I would probably stop it at 750 myself. Technically, you would want to wait down to 7, but I would watch 8 with a stop around 750. I see it's oncology, so you got to be a little bit careful with stuff like that just because they can announce some craziness. But again, it's the point is I can trade smaller because, you know, if it gets from, so 2 divided by 8, right, it's 25% gain. So I can trade that a lot smaller and keeping the risk kind of the same. So I need to also look at here. How many do we have on the list already? 10. So yeah, because I just don't like getting my watch list over like that 15 to 20 is kind of my absolute max number. I find it's just too much to look at. I end up making mistakes. Thor Industries. Earnings already out of the way. That must have been what this right here was. So earnings pop. So I like that now. Let me just check. Was that earnings? Yeah. So I really like when this happens, right? So this pop right here happened on earnings. So gapped on earnings, ran all day, held on earnings. So I don't give a shit what the earnings are, right? But I always want to look, the market reaction to the earnings was pretty good. So people were happy with whatever they said there. And then you have this area here, which was resistance right here. I'm trying to get better with hotkeys there. And then may act as support here. So we have this little breakout and push back. And then we have this little declining looking wedge right here. Right, so you break there, right? 126. You're wrong at 121. So that's $5, right? So then what are the odds that you could get to 136? That's just right here, so that's fine. And then maybe 146, right? So that would be 146 would be 4 times your risk, which would be nuts into all-time highs. And I'll take 4 times my risk any day of the week. I'd even probably go tighter than that. I'd probably go 26. Feel like I need to plug every now and then, but again, the output of this, which I will show you guys here in a second. Actually, let's just load it up right now. This is what the pro membership at Stats Edge gets, right? I sit here with my lo-fi hip hop, which I realize isn't called Chilled Cow anymore. Did they? It's Lo-Fi Girl. Like, was that a lawsuit or something? Because I was searching for it the other day and it was hard to find the actual thing. But yeah, I guess if you haven't been on the site, this is a good time just to, right, the stuff for free, which is great. Again, my trading tools, I always appreciate if you guys, that's the link in the description, everything as well. These are affiliate links, so that will help me out directly there. We also have this free trading course. I always am. It takes a while to load, but it's real. Don't worry. There's just 36 video episodes of me teaching my wife basic trading principles, a great intro to trading course, 100% free. Then if you go into Stats Edge Pro, you get my nighttime watch list, access to all of my scans. We have a member chat, and then we have a Q&A live stream that we do every month where you guys get to ask me whatever you want. And then you get access to the archive here if you want to go back and watch all of the previous ones since I launched the product a few short months ago. But yeah, so the watch list is, let's just go back and grab one just so they don't see like the current list, but gets you into this where I talk about how I annotate the charts just like you're seeing. So I was talking about the support zone for all of these different cryptos, and then I covered some of this because I had a short in through here. So, right, I shorted GBP and then talked about how I bought the bounce again. Just talking about all of these ranges to expect. Right, and then each individual stock I'm watching, why I'm watching it, the technical analysis behind it, and then into just this Google Doc, which just gets you access to the actual numbers. So again, if you're interested after watching the stream, that's all there for $2 a day, which if you're have any trading income is a $2 a day tax write-off. I think. I'm not a tax expert, nor am I a trading expert. And there are no picks. There are no trade this, buy this here, sell this here. It's a look into my process. And I'm not just saying that part to cover my ass. I'm saying the rest of it to cover my ass. But that's because I don't think, there's times where I do well and there's times that I don't. And that's what I think real trading is, right? Not the Lambo guys who are making $5 million a day. Yes. I should add a volatility filter to this scan. It's getting a lot of junk. Bank of Hawaii is looking very, very strong. It's not volatile enough for me. Lucy. Nice job, Holly. I'm going to put this one back on watch. I know I had this on watch before. I can't remember if I did anything with it. It's just this $12 has been everything for this name. Oops. So it's got to just get and clear $12. The first one, it kind of screwed people, so it might be the second one. And this isn't something that I'm watching for like tomorrow, but I'm watching for a while. Chris, you found me out here talking shit about people. I will not name any names, but I may describe their hair color and ponytail and goatee. Whatever happened to that guy? I haven't seen him in ages. Now I gotta look. Is it still a thing? Did he get shut down? Oh no, he's still out there. Oh yeah, he stopped putting out videos about a week ago. Dug a hole. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, so this, I'm going to watch $12 here. And again, I'm not even going to put a stop on this because this is not like I don't even know if I'd take it if it did it on Monday, but it's an interesting look for sure. Deleted his Twitter. Ooh. I can't follow Guru Leaks anymore because I think he kind of lost his way. I like what he does, when he was pointing out scammers, but now I see him like go after people that I know are legit and just have like shitty trades and piles on them. I don't like that, but CoffeeZilla He's my guy. I don't think he's covered the Who Shall Not Be Named, but I really like his stuff because he does like, Guru Leaks I think got lazy. Or maybe there's just, he hasn't found out a way to monetize it yet, so there's just no reason for him to go. But like that CoffeeZilla guy goes deep. He's an actual, because again, it's one thing to say, hey, yeah, this guy's lying and making shit up and all this stuff. It's another thing to say, hey, this guy had a shitty call. It's like, well, thanks, man, but you're just kicking a dude while he's down at that point. Like, if anything, if someone has a shitty call and owns up to it as a community, we should all praise them for that, right? It means they're probably more legit than the guys who never have shitty calls. Oh, man. There's a lot of stocks on this list, and they're starting to look less and less interesting to me as time goes on here. Yeah, a lot of shit's in a range, but the market's in a range, so what do you expect? All right, let's try something else. Let's try a different one. Let's try the pullback. So this one's I just call it in the pocket. It's a real simple one, just looking for the 8 MA over the 20 MA, and then a pullback into that kind of a buy zone, right? Which this cloud right here, that's all that is the 8 MA and the 20 MA, right? So no magic, but I've just noticed, what's a good one? JPRE, is that where? Yeah, this one did. What was it we were looking at? Upstart, UPST. Right, you can use this kind of a little. I'm not a big moving average guy. I don't really believe in them as indicators, but it's just a nice little indicator, I guess, of just showing you, hey, this thing's in an uptrend. It looks good in an uptrend, and then you can look for technical patterns. And it's a way to like kind of build a checklist around things to say, hey, we have to be above the 20 MA and the 8 MA has to be above the 20 MA. And it's just a way to quantify saying it needs to be going up, needs to be in an uptrend. And that's just kind of what I'm seeing there. MGY. Jeez. Yeah, that looks nice. I just look at that. I'm sad that I miss it, but that one does look nice. Technically, you could, I guess, be worried about this RSI divergence going on here, but it may have just poked up above that. That may be too far from that anyway. Never mind, scrap that. It's strong. That's something that Barry would play. I just can't get behind the way that man trades. I know it works for him and he does well. I'm not harping on it, but it's like every time he's like, I bought this, it's just in my head, I'm like, man, that's overextended. But if it works, right? You can't, he's not averaging down into shitty positions. So Andy nailed this trade, Chris, because I don't think there's anybody here. Yeah, it's like 7 people. When I was doing that CNBC thing earlier today, I was talking to you about, I stole this trade that Andy was talking about for my own. It was just a great, the stock doubles up and then it puts in this long-legged doji right there for an evening star play. And he just took a short on it somewhere in that area. And so I took a little bit of a short on TV today, right here, just kind of piggybacked on him and then covered it a few minutes later. It's great little play. Shows up in the pullback scanner because it's technically pulling back, but when something doubles and comes in a bit, I'm not that interested in getting that pullback at that point, right? It's just not. Again, half of trading, I think, is looking at charts saying, shit, I missed that one. Molson. Or where's our Molson Canadian? Come on now. even as a Canadian, I think Molson Canadian shitty beer, so that deserves to be where it is, I guess. What are you fucking losing it, or is your dogs running around behind me? PRGS. Yeah, I'm not seeing much else. I don't know. I need to make one of those. I need to make my TikTok for a day. Jesus Christ, what have I become? Oh, I do have a TikTok. I don't talk about it very much, but if you guys have a TikTok, Stats at Trading on TikTok as well. I just post those same short videos that I put on YouTube up on there. And then immediately get off that creepy ass website the second I can. All right, last but not least, let's go to the rounded bottom scan. This is looking for just that. This is a very hit or miss setup for me. I've gotten some great winners off this scan, like stocks that have doubled. And then I've gotten a whole bunch of crap. And I can't really pinpoint what the major difference is. I'm still working on that, so EZPW. And if Steve's considering it for the trade of the week, then I'm interested. Oh yeah, nice close on that breakout too. Interesting. I just can't get myself to go with something that went from 6 to 8. I just can't do it. And it might be to my detriment, but especially in this market, I just find myself more and more interested in buying dips. And I guess this is for you, Chris. You may have noticed if you do the new Market Explorer window, that should be out in the new version. You should be able to test. It actually has the TI strength stuff right in there, so you can check that out as well. I probably shouldn't go through that on stream. I still have to write that up tonight. So yeah, there's that. There's a couple that I asked Dave to remove, but he's on vacation. Like the Score newsletter is ugly and has to go. There's one that's like 15 candles below the 20 MA, which I just built to show Brad what was possible with the system. But blue's interesting, right? It's Barry would love this one. He loves things that are going to get up into their gap. Long way till earnings. This is something that we need to steal. I really like having that line there. But basically just a big kind of cup going on here after just getting killed, right? It's gap down. Geez, gap down. Gap down here. Gap down from 50 to 40. Gap down from 40 to 30. Gap down from 30 to 20. So at some point, the shorts have to take profits is basically just the kind of play I would play on this. So I'd just kind of maybe draw a line right at 20 and just maybe put a buy stop limit above 20 and then forget about it. And again, I know we're talking a lot of inside baseballs now that Chris is here. And for whoever's here, I stream once a week, but Chris is streaming at 4:30 Eastern every day after the market close. Correct me if I'm wrong there. Doing the same kind of stuff, right? Just talking about stocks that he's interested in, and also there for support. So if you guys have a question, you're scanning at night or something, and 3:30 Eastern. Sorry. So yeah, 3:30 Eastern. So yeah, if you guys are you just want more scanning content and trading content, go to, let me grab the actual link. But yeah, Chris is there. And whereas I will answer some of your questions, he's actually there to answer all of your questions when it comes to trade ideas and that kind of stuff. So it's just youtube.com/trade ideas/live, right? /live. So yeah, 3:30 Eastern. So go hang out, check out the close with them. That's where I do like all of my trading. So I'm generally not on here, but that's something that's interesting. But yeah, this blue, if you really zoom in, you can kind of see a cup and handle type pattern. But really, if you get through 20, you could try to close this gap. So that's 25. That's a pretty decent little move there. Oh, no worries, man. RDUS putting in a little bottoming pattern here too. I've seen this a few times today, but it's just, I don't think the risk reward is there. So you're buying at $13.50, you're stopping it at 12, so you're risking $1.50. So you're gonna get $3 from $13.50 is gonna get you $16.50. No, Michael, 16. Jesus, I need a coffee. But yeah, I don't think that's. It could be the move. So we got a 15% short float. We got earnings November 4th. We got a $600 million market cap, so it can move. Like, this is the shit that we do better than everyone else. It's just this data box right here that I don't see other places. Only 40, so it does 300,000 shares a day, and there's only 40 million shares in the float. We got two strong candles. I think I'm talking myself into this one. RDUS. And yeah, you can see this support that it's down into is just this area of junk back here. So yeah, 1350 to 12. I think is kind of your play here. So we'll take a look at that. Yeah, so now that we're at the end of the stream, Chris, and no one's going to still be here watching this, but this CNBC thing was just hilarious. You've just got so many traders, and you know how traders are, right? I'm not, but a lot of them are like type A, and they're all plugging their stuff. I won't say who they were, but you would know a lot of them, not like the who not be named, but kind of the middle ground. But like, so they're all like trying to get up. There was like two guys that were yelling at each other about a trade. One guy's like, I shorted the NASDAQ here, and the other one like basically called him an idiot for not waiting for a trend line. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, and he's like, what did you do today? I'm like, I bought some silver. We had an RSI divergence, and we closed the gap, and I bought a bit of silver, and that was it. So I don't know if they're going to end up taking me, just because I'm like, I'm not going to fight with this guy about this trend line versus this RSI divergence versus this thing here. But I got an email from him just now. I reached out to him too, and I just said, man, this isn't it, what you're doing. This isn't like, you don't need 10 people on fighting over position. You need 3 guys who are going to give you shit about the market, right? DVAX. Oof. Yeah, it's too volatile for me right now. We were in the pro members, right? We got in DVAX right there on that test of prior resistance. And I would love to say that I was holding it all in through here, but like the piker I am, I was selling it on the way up. Didn't get anywhere near 20. I think I got out most in like this area. But yeah, it's wild at this point. What else do we got? Any other scans I want to look at? This one maybe. So this one, I'm not really a fan of. I got to look at it again. It was working for a while there, but it's basically looking for what they call a TTM squeeze. Dog. What was that? IMGN. 12% short floats, November 5th. Market cap's $1 billion company. You can almost see the kind of inverse head and shoulders looking at there with your neckline being right there, but that's 6 and that's 8. So what are you risking? You're buying at 6, you're risking 50 cents. That's not too bad, right? If you're risking $500 on a trade, you're only putting in, like, you could put in 10 G's. And then it gets to 8. You made 2 G's. Yeah, I'll put that one on the watch list. IMGN. So you're just looking at or this could be a whack off bottom. I tuned into Trader TV yesterday, and they're still laughing at me. When I'm on next Friday, I'll have to school the kids. Start speaking. Wake off. Because I mentioned this. The wake off. Bottom, and I think they thought I said whack off. And it's Richard Whack Off, right? Yeah. They never heard of this guy, and he's like one of the godfathers of technical analysis. Like, they put him right up there with like Dow and Elliott and all that kind of stuff. But the Wyckoff, early 20s pioneer of technical approach to the stock market, Dow, Gann, Elliott, Merrill, the OGs. But he had this thing, where he called the Wyckoff bottom, where it's basically just your typical channel bottom, but you have what most people just call a bear trap, right? And that's the same kind of thing I'm seeing here in this one, this MYGN, right? You've got your support right there, and then you got your resistance right up here. And that's all been good for a while, but then you had this, if you ever follow JC stuff, he just puts whoops, and then it goes from there. So maybe this one's the move. So what, 620, 560? Yeah, whoops, the bear trap, it's 650, stop, 520. And it's just like, the theory behind it makes sense to me, right? You've basically shaken out all of the longs here. You've added in a whole bunch of shorts right here. They're going to have their stop probably above this support. If this support breaks and starts running, then you get all the people who either sold out here FOMOing in, and all the people who shorted there going, oh shit, and covering. And then maybe you do get your pop to 8. I've been playing with fibs more and more. I've never really been a fib guy, but right, the 61.8 is the only one that I ever looked at, but that gets us up to 860, which would be that'd be what, 4 times your risk, right? So if it's 4 times your risk, you got to say, well, is there a chance that I'm correct over 100% or 25% of the time? If I am, I should take it. But all right, guys, last call for questions or chart requests or any of that. I'm going to take off. I have to do the TI strength alerts, get that so that you guys get on the weekend and all that. I got to do that all tonight. Stats Edge Pro people, you'll have your thing up tonight as well. I'm basically just burning the midnight oil on this one. Oh, I'll definitely go into the pub after this one for sure, Chris. It's Canadian Thanksgiving up here this weekend, so I won't have any time to work on that stuff during the weekend, so I got to do it. I got to do it today. CIDM. It's just too slow for me. I always like looking at these better in trade ideas. CIDM. Yeah, like the chart looks good. Videotape and disc rental. No fucking way. Right here. How? What? Wait, I gotta share that with the guys on Slack before I actually see what they do, because there's no goddamn way that they're in videotape and disc rental. There. Let's actually just tweet that. All right, then I gotta find out what they actually do. Let me go rent my videotape. What? Did you just find the weirdest stock in the market, Sam? Uses AI to make... What? How? Well, there you go. From a chart point of view, it's just not volatile enough for me, right? Like, how much of this videotape rental do I have to buy to make enough to pay for my night at the pub? Yes, I think you went deep, and I think you found it. I think you found the weirdest stock. I bet you they're like some stupid streaming service or something right now. What's the profile, actually? Yeah, independent streaming entertainment company which engage in the marketing and distribution of movie, television, short form. So yeah, they're like one of those little tiny backwards streaming companies. But I just love that there is an industry out there called videotape and disc rental, and a sub industry that's called videotape and disc rental, which is just hilarious to me. And it was founded in the year 2000. I guess that's 21 years ago. Holy shit. Sling TV. I think I heard about that. I think it's an American thing, but okay. So yeah, it's a streaming site. So it's not as ridiculous as I initially thought, but it's just too slow for me. Everything else looks fine. Like, it's a fine looking chart, nice bull flag. I get if, you include that in it, that seems like a Wall Street Bets thing, that it is volatile, but you gotta, a long-term play, maybe, it's not going to be my time frame of trade. Let's look at the weekly chart on that. A little evening star kind of a look, but yeah, you get above 260, you might be onto something, right? You're around, worst case, you're stopping it under 2, but you're probably stopping it under like 2.25. So you're risking 60 cents. It's just how much can you buy to make it worth your while, right? And it all depends. I think some brokers allow margin on stocks under $5 and some don't, things like that. But it's interesting. I know we laughed, but it's not the worst looking. It's not the worst looking thing on the planet. If I zoom out and say, okay, well, basically what zooming out's doing for me here is just showing that, right, ignore this must have been when people realized that videotapes weren't coming back. But ever since then, it's like right here, your floor has been like $2 and you're over that now. So the more I look at it, the more I like it, right? My problem is just how slow it is, right? This might be something that's a little bit more of a long-term look, right? You buy a couple thousand shares and that costs you not much money. And then, you put a stop under 2 and you say, well, wake me up, right? If this thing hits 10, which right, I would watch. Something tells me that there's been some reverse splits to stay relevant on this one, right? I could be wrong, but that's kind of what this looks like to me, is that they crashed under $1 and then they had to go and do a reverse split. And then that kind of backwards updates the rest of the charts. But that Holly sell right there was pretty bang on. I don't know. That's interesting to me. All right, guys, I'm going to take off. I'm going to go grab something to eat, and then I'm going to bring my ass back here. So Stats Edge Pro people, your stuff will be up soonish. And then, yeah, I got to do the TI Strength stuff as well. So that will come out on time, even though it will be Thanksgiving Day for me when it does. I will talk to you guys soon. If you like this, share it around, all that stuff that YouTube keeps telling me to do. Check out the links in the description below. That kind of supports the channel, makes it worthwhile doing this stuff. And if you're interested, come to statsedgetrading.com and sign up, get the output of this. So you don't have to hear me rant for an hour and a half every night. You just get the output of it. And I will talk to you guys soon.